Welcome to the Light Your Heart with Hope podcast. I'm Erin, and I'm so thankful you're here. Today's episode is a little different. We have an amazing announcement that we want to share with all of you. Some incredible things are happening at Hunter's Hope, and we are so thankful for God's provision. The Abner family was in town recently for a special visit, and my mom met with Crystal and Chris Abner to talk about the amazing news. You may remember the Abner family from a previous episode we shared in season 3 titled A Greater Purpose in Pain. If you haven't had a chance to listen to their episode, I encourage you to go back and listen so that you can hear their story and how their daughter Katelynn has impacted so many people's lives. So here's my mom with Chris and Crystal Abner.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I'm here with the Abner family, Chris and Crystal. Abner, we've known you guys for many years, but this week in particular, you guys came to visit Buffalo. You actually went to your first Buffalo Bills game, which I don't know. Was it
amazing.
Exciting?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right. Like they won. So
They won.
That
That's
was
always
a
a
big
good thing.
bonus, right?
Undefeated at home.
Right. Well, there you go. So thanks for coming because we won.
Yeah.
You never know. Any given week, you just never know. But more than that, I'm just so excited and blessed to have you in town because we kind of have a really huge announcement to share with everyone that we've been talking about, working on for the past month or so, maybe more than that, really. And I just want you guys to talk about the behind the scenes, how this all came to be, your relationship with the gentleman that we're going to be talking about, and just about you guys and why you do Katelynn's Butterfly Kisses. Just a little bit of background.
Okay. Well, the reason why it has the name Katelyn's Butterfly Kisses is Katelynn loved the color pink and she loved butterflies. And the way that she would kiss me was kind of with her eyelashes after she had kind of lost her abilities. And so it was butterfly kisses. So that is where that name came from and has kind of stuck. And the way that this big news came about was, Katelynn's life just impacted somebody that we became friends with. He kind of wants to remain nameless, but he just said that her life and everything that she showed him with her strength and grace and beauty, that he wanted her life to make an impact on others. And so he made a very generous donation of $1 million.
And can we just stop for a second? Okay. We have, there's so many generous people out there that have given so much to the Hunter's Hope Foundation. But we have never experienced such generosity. We are blown away. We really didn't think it was real. Just so you know, we were like, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. Only just be,
We didn't believe it was
right,
real.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, you saw our face when we found out about it. Like, what's wrong? And it's like, I don't know.
And I was so glad that we were together. We were all together at the symposium, the Hunter's Hope Symposium. And you guys had actually just asked your friend for a donation for the walk.
Yeah,
right.
We were thinking $25, knowing him, maybe $100 or $1,000. But he said, call. When I texted, he said, are you in Buffalo? Call me. And when we called, we got the flooring news. And I looked at Chris and Wyatt because we were on speakerphone and was just like, did I hear him correctly? And he had to reiterate to me, yes, you heard me correctly, because I couldn't believe it. And I almost fell over on the stairs afterwards. Chris had to keep asking me if I was okay.
Well, and we were completely shocked that we were totally, I think we were speechless for a bit.
You thought I was playing a joke.
I did. I kind of did. Well, because it's so outrageous, right? And I'm still in awe, and I still can't believe that it's actually happening. But I just also want to share, or you guys to share, Katelynn had MLD, and you didn't say that yet. And I don't know if our listeners actually know about that. They might not have listened to your episode, which you need to go back and listen to Crystal's episode and Wyatt's, because I love your episode, and it talks about how God uses everything for good and that your pain is not wasted. And so if you can just, I guess, share a little bit about Katelynn, and you said she had such an incredible impact on this gentleman who donated so much money. And I get that because, our kids' lives impact people's lives without even saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
And people's lives are changed. And what a huge blessing that we get to be their parents and see that happen. But now that trickles over into you guys out there sharing your story and people, understanding what you're doing and how impactful that is. So just share a little bit about Katelynn and how she's changed so many lives.
Katelynn was feisty, to say the least. I think she was the most, she's the middle child. Like, I don't know how to explain that one. They just have this personality. And
Hunter was the middle child.
She had no fear. She climbed on top of anything and everything. She was just fearless and just strong. And she showed it through like everything that she went to. And with MLD, which is Metachromatic Leukodystrophy, they become symptomatic later than Krabbe. And so she was hitting all of her milestones until she was about 18 months old. And then she was having walking issues but she was losing the ability to walk and take steps. So she was put into physical therapy and she cognitively was hitting above her age level, but there was some fine motor skills and gross motor skills that were starting to be apparent that she had a problem going on. But with the cognitive thing, she was saying over 100-word vocabulary and she wasn't even 2. And so when she became significantly symptomatic, there were signs that I knew as a mom from early on, but when she became noticeably symptomatic, she was losing things at a really rapid rate within days and like a week or 2. She was losing more and more steps, was walker dependent, then wheelchair dependent, was unable to sit up, lost the ability to eat, was losing the ability to crawl. And I just remember looking at her face when she was crawling and her arms were giving out and she would look up at me and just, why? And like, what's happening? And you could see kind of that worried look in her face. Going through all that, I mean, it just, I don't know. I don't even know what I want to say. Like, she just exuded strength with all of it, even with the unknown. And how do you explain this to a not even 2-year-old? And then fast forward, after all of her struggles with the disease, she was symptomatic for almost 4 years and then ultimately lost her battle. But in the last couple of months, her little sister was going to be born. And she was going to all of my high-risk pregnancy appointments 2 times a week. And she would just light up when she heard her sister's heartbeat. And the nurses would put her heartbeat on the monitor loud for her to hear. And she would just light up and be so excited. And we almost lost Katelynn in a car ride home from visiting friends. And when we got home, we were with another friend had come over and we were just praying over her and telling her that if she was ready to go ahead and you can go. But if you want to fight, we'll fight. And in the true Katelynn fashion, she gave a look like, no, we're staying, like we're going to do this. And she wanted to meet her sister. And so she fought for another couple of months and she was with her sister in the delivery room. And so she watched her sister be born. She was one of the first ones to hold her. And she passed away 4 weeks after, but she got to babysit her sister. And I would leave and go to the bathroom and leave them laying in bed together. And she just, in those 4 weeks, she showed again her strength and grace, and just everything was in Katelynn fashion. I don't even know.
I will never forget her. I got to hold her when she was alive and she was at symposium, and she is so, not only does she radiate the love and beauty of God, but you all are blessed with gorgeous children. I mean, Evelyn does remind me so much of Katelynn, but yeah, you guys are all so blessed, and her story continues and her legacy will continue through Katelynn's Butterfly Kisses and this incredible endowment gift
Yes.
from your friend who goes unnamed and who does not want the recognition, which again, what a blessing.
Like his specific words were, I just want her life, the impact it had on me. I want it to have the same impact on others that she did. And
now it can,
yeah.
even far beyond anything any of us, right, could have ever imagined.
Oh, yeah.
So, Chris, I have a couple questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the greatest impact Katelynn's life has had on you?
Coming right out of the gate with a tough question.
Sorry. You're a military guy.
Yeah,
Come on. You're a Purple Heart. You can do this.
Yeah, I think, of going back to the military, you see so much bad and ugly. And then you take something so bad and ugly like a leukodystrophy, whether it be MLD or crab A, but you still see the beauty and all the bad things that you saw with Katelynn. You still see she's just perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, after 18 months, she never said a word, but I always said that and I think this goes for any leukodystrophy kid, because every adult comes up and whispers, God knows what's these leukodystrophy kids. I mean, they all know everybody's secrets, I think, because I mean, if they could write a book, it'd be amazing.
Right.
But and then with the $1 Million Gift shows the awesomeness in mankind. And you really, sometimes in today's world, you lose that.
Yes. Especially someone who's seen what you have seen in life.
You see $1 Million grant come through and you're looking for a $25 donation just to beat the Cushmans. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So yeah, I guess just seeing the beauty in life and people still. Not everybody's bad.
Right. And can you just tell me, because you shared this with me before, about what your friend did? He started to investigate Hunter's Hope and your wishes and how you guys wanted to honor Katelynn. And
so we met the gentleman back in 2012, Bev. But anyways, a long time ago when he first met Katelynn, and we had told him about Hunter's Hope and where we were going and everything. And at that point, he started looking into Hunter's Hope and the financials and making sure that it was a solid organization, something that maybe one day he would want to give money towards. And when he finally brought up the $1 Million donation, we drove to Hunter's Hope this last year and we talked to him for maybe 3 hours on the way back home about everything. And he went back on Hunter's Hope's financials
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Obviously somebody who's willing to donate $1 million is very smart.
Right.
With his money.
Right.
That's why I don't have $1 million, obviously. But he straight out said that if it wasn't for how Hunter's Hope was ran, then he would not have donated that $1 million, because there are so many organizations out there that they don't care. They're
even with good intentions, they're not run
the way they should be ran on the financial standpoint. Just because you have $1 million in the bank doesn't mean you can go spend $1 million that year.
Right.
So Hunter's Hope is here for the long haul on looking at finding a cure, going forward newborn screening and helping the families and helping, we know what's going to happen with many of these kids that are already diagnosed, but now looking at the siblings have, I can't even how many times, with Wyatt, if there wasn't for other great people in this world where Wyatt would be right now. I mean, living in California, we couldn't afford Wyatt to go to preschool. So people had to step up and pay for him to go to preschool, because California, I mean, it was $2,000 a month for 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think it was more than that.
It was ridiculous, So the way Hunter's Hope is ran and has been ran since coming to be Hunter's Hope is the reason this $1 million was donated. Yes, Katelynn made a huge impact on this gentleman's life, but if it wasn't for everything being right for the past 10 years and since becoming Hunter's Hope, he wouldn't have done it. It doesn't matter. It's a bad financial investment. Nobody's going to just throw away money.
Right.
He knew that putting this money with this organization, he was going to get the bang for the buck.
And I just, having you share that is so incredibly humbling for me, because I know the brains and the heart and the passion behind everything in that regard at this foundation. And it's my mom.
Absolutely.
And she is one of the most incredible human beings I've ever met. And I'm so thankful she's my mom. But she has been very diligent about taking care of everything in regard to the foundation and making sure that everything that's done here is beyond reproach, really. And that she always wants to honor God with every aspect of the foundation. So this donation also is just an acknowledgement, I guess, to that. And so I was so blessed when you told me, and I couldn't wait to tell my mom. And she, she's incredibly humble, and she was just like in tears and didn't really know what to say. And because she's just living the way
she's doing the right thing.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes I think people that continuously do the right thing, they just think everybody's doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many people out there with good intentions that go about it the wrong way.
Right.
And, you can tell that Hunter's Hope's here for the long haul. It's going to make the difference. And
therefore, Katelynn's Butterfly Kisses is absolutely here for the long haul. Absolutely. And I believe, I don't know what goes on in heaven. I don't know what our kids are doing, but I believe 100% that they are all about what's going on down here. And they are encouraging us in ways that we don't even see and know. And as much as of a heartbreak that it is for us to have walked through what we did and to miss our children, I'm so thankful because I know you and I know our other families now. And we have this common bond and heartbreak and love for each other that we'll never find that anywhere else in this world. Maybe you might, and through the military. I mean, I know that the military is such a strong knit, especially Marines. But I feel like what we have through our heartbreak, again, is so strong and beautiful, and it will last a lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, I did an interview for Hunter's Hope probably 5 years ago, and somebody asked a question, when you're looking at pain as far as military and having a child with a leukodystrophy, it's as a military member, you sign, on a dotted line saying, hey, this is what I might end up doing. I might end up losing my life. But when you have a child, your pregnancy was fine. You went through all your appointments. And now all of a sudden you've gotten this news that you have, this word of leukodystrophy and you can't even spell it out. Right. You didn't ask for that. And to one day everything be fine. And the next day you got to deal with, the feeding tubes and everything. The strength that you see with the leukodystrophy community and the parents is greater than a lot of the military members because they knew what they were getting themselves into. The siblings, the siblings never asked for this. It's such and to see them, we've been coming here for 10 years and to see these siblings grow up. I mean, we have a sibling in the room with us and look at her. She's amazing, right? I mean,
Erin's in the room, even though she's not talking.
Yeah. But to see them evolve around such a tragedy and make something positive of it and still continue to help other siblings and other families is just,
well, and they're the next generation.
Absolutely.
I mean, these guys have to carry on when we're all said and done.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to be in charge of $1 million. I mean,
you hear that, Erin?
Oh boy.
That's definitely some huge footprints to follow behind your mom. I mean, think about it.
Right.
I mean, look another 10 years down the road. If something's wrong with one of those books, if a bad financial investment was ever made, you might have that another person, another anonymous donor say, I want to do this. But, in 2024, they made some bad decisions.
And you know what? We're just going to trust God with all that. Right. Yeah. And just, as all of us have trusted him one day at a time, we'll continue to do that. And I just want to thank you guys again. Yes. I want to thank you for the relationship that you have with this unnamed donor who has been so incredibly generous. But I also just wanted to thank you guys for being real, for being who you are. We love you. And I wish you didn't live in Oklahoma if you live closer. And I will say too, Wyatt and Evelyn are a reflection of you guys and Katelynn in so many ways. And I'm just really, really thankful. So
We're thankful for you guys.
Yeah. Love y'all.
Love you.